intro doesn't.
Hello, hello.
Hello. I can't
Hello.
see anything. My stuff's not working. What is happening? I can't see the background. Oh, I know why. Hold on. Let me fix it. I fix it. I don't know how to. Yes, I do. How do I fix this? Oh, for the love of St. Croix. Where's that at? Give me a moment. I'm there. Okay, there I am. I can see it. So when the intro starts, it turns everything black on my end. I don't know if you can see the same thing that I can or not, but and then I have to tell it to go hide the intro. It's stupid. I just need to find a better. Hi, how are you? I'm just gonna. Oh my goodness. Well, welcome to Shenanigans, everybody. I'm Tara, and Amber's with me tonight. She's not feeling very camera friendly though. She's camera shy
Yeah.
tonight.
Well, it's a snow day, and I'm still in my pajamas. I'm not gonna lie. So, yeah.
Pajamas are good. Pajamas are good. I'm gonna try to stay centered on. My office is a disgrace, and I'm not organized at all. And I think Katie's gonna join us here in a little bit. I have to try to watch to make sure that when she hops in here, I let her in instead of making her beat on the back door and holler at me. So, but tonight, what do we want to talk about? Tonight, we're going to talk about relationship faux pas. Let me grab my show notes. Okay. So I want to talk about relationship stuff because we just had Valentine's Day, and I'm sure we're all just overwhelmed and just happy as can be with Valentine's Day. But before we kind of get started into all of the shenanigans talk, tell me, Amber, what has been your favorite Valentine's gift that you've received? Or the biggest, well, yeah, do the favorite one first. I'll do the second one here in a second.
Let's see. So, I only had one past relationship that actually did Valentine's gifts. Hated the guy, but he was a really good gifter. So I'd have to say Italian leather boots from Italy.
Well, why don't we just set that bar so high that nobody else can get up to it?
That's okay. The guy sucked. So,
Is it this? It was Jay, no?
Yep.
Yeah.
Hmm.
Well, the gifts
He
were so
always liked to, yeah, he always liked to buy the really, really good gifts, probably because he
he
was,
was cheating so bad.
fucking everything that moved. So, yeah, I mean,
Not me.
got to keep me satisfied so I don't go snooping around into his personal life.
Touche, correct. So, and accurate. I knew this guy personally when she was dating him, and I didn't care for him at all. And she heard you probably got tired of me griping about him all the time, every day, all day. It's like I didn't have a life. It's all I did was obsess over how much I didn't like him. What has been, and no, you said that you've only had one relationship where you actually celebrated Valentine's Day. And I don't think everybody knows why that is. It's not like you've had crappy exes for all those years. Why didn't you celebrate Valentine's Day prior to this last relationship?
Let's see. Well, okay. Well, I mean, I was a Jehovah's Witness until I was 31.
That's
So
what I was looking for.
yeah, I didn't celebrate anything. But like, I don't know. I've always thought that Valentine's Day was just like a weird made up holiday. So I've never really gotten into it. Um, and like, even with my husband now, we don't really do Valentine's Day. Like, there's been a couple of times where we're like, oh, we'll go out to dinner or something like that. But we don't
Right.
buy each other gifts or anything like that. I mean, and I think we're just, I don't know, we're secure enough in our relationship where we don't feel that pressure to like, oh, I got to show you how much I love you on one day. I've always thought it was a little bit silly.
Hmm.
Um, and so, yeah, like this past Valentine's Day, he worked on some stuff for my salon. And I went over to my neighbor's house next door and had a little girls' night.
Aw.
And we just made cocktails and had fun and listened to music and ate a lot of food and, had our little like galentines. So yeah,
Right.
I mean, I yeah, I don't know. I've just never been that into Valentine's Day. So
I think I finally let the social construct of it all wear off. I really didn't care if we did anything on Valentine's, and it was on a Friday, and we thought maybe last minute. I asked him to go to a nice restaurant at lunchtime. He already had plans, which not a big deal to me. I know some people might find it to be a big deal, and I think that's one of those relationship faux pas things where you feel like you have to do something because that's the expectation. Like there's a social norm that we're supposed
right.
to be bound by. And then we thought, well, we knew there were going to be no restaurants available, and I think I don't remember where we went to dinner that night. Actually, we went out and grabbed something to eat, but I don't remember where we went to. So it wasn't even that big of a deal. I mean, but he bought me chocolates and a robe because I keep stealing his robe when I'm at the house. So he bought me my second robe of my own to be like,
Nice.
and it is really nice. It's one of those Dixon robes. It's very, very warm. It works better than the blankets that are on the couch. So, but yeah, I'm to me, it's just a day of the year. And I think if folks want to make it a big deal, that's great. But for me, I'm like, it's okay. And I used to
Mhm.
think it was a big deal, but and now I'm like, I wouldn't care if he picked just some random day of the year to send me a nice thing or buy me chocolates. And now I think about it, I think all my chocolates, they're very nice Coca Dolce chocolates. And I left them all at his place. So I need to get them back from him. He needs to bring them back to me. They're so good. So now, that's the kind of the thing is right is that there's certain social expectations that we're all supposed to abide by. Otherwise, you kind of feel judged on. And I think it's easier to fall prey to those if you're younger, maybe a little less mature in your relationship, or just having I'm not saying the relationship itself is mature, but just two individuals coming together. Like you and Eric came together a little later in life. Me and Bo came together a little later in life. We've all been together for a few years now, but I think kind of that point of, oops, we missed, an anniversary. Oh well, we'll make it up later. We enjoy each other every day. So
Right.
um, I think that's where Jim and I are at in our relationship, um, and we just kind of go with the flow and what works, what doesn't work. There's been a lot of changes, a lot of big events the last 6 to 8 months. So the relationship has to change along with it. We have to evolve, and so things don't matter the way that they used to. And we're two very independent people who came together to enjoy each other's company. So that's one of the things too about our relationship. We're still very independent. We're not reliant upon each other for happiness. We have our own sense of it. We just happen to share it in a way that makes sense for us. So if we had to put our relationship into words, that's probably the best way to put it for right now. What about you and Eric?
Yeah, I mean, when it comes to, being romantic or, doing something special, I we're both so busy. I mean, there are days where he's working like 12, 13 hours in his office and I don't see him until, late in the evening. I've
Well, because
always
he works
got
from home.
Huh?
He
Oh,
works
yeah,
he
he
works
works from home still, and, I mean, he'll have, like, some crazy long days, um, and then, like, in my last job, I mean, I wouldn't get home until 9 or 10 o'clock at night, and so, um, it's we've kind of come to that point where it's like, we can't just put an expectation on one day or something like that. We figure out our schedule, we figure out what's going to work for us, and hey, we don't have anything going on Friday, let's go on a date. Let's spend some
right.
quality time together. And I mean, I don't know. I much prefer being in a relationship like that rather than being in one of those younger relationships where you're waiting for, Valentine's Day, or you're waiting for your birthday or something for somebody to do something special for you or something
Right.
like that. And then things don't work out the way that maybe you had built it up in your head. And then you're dealing with disappointment. And it's this is so much more comfortable because
Yeah.
there's no expectations. There's no expectations there. And so then when you do have a really wonderful, romantic, fun evening together, I feel like that just makes it all the more special
Yeah.
because it didn't happen for a reason. It happened because you wanted it to.
It was organic, it's natural.
Right, right.
It makes a
Yeah,
difference.
you're both on the same page.
Yep,
And
agreed.
that's way more wonderful to me than, "Oh gosh, what are we doing for Valentine's Day?"
Yeah,
Yeah.
that stress and then trying to, work around it, and if everybody else is trying to do the same thing on the same night, so it's a lot of undue pressure and stress. You could just sit at home, get in the jammies and just chill. I mean, that's to me,
Yep.
that's pretty much what we know. We went out to dinner, and I can't for the life of me, um, and we went to where did we go for dinners? In one of our normal places, I'm sure. Because we went out both, Friday night and then Saturday night. And Saturday night we did go to our normal place. Um, but it's we went to one of our other favorite places. That's right. It's another new normal one that we're going to. Um, but it's just easy that way, I think. So, but that's kind
Mhm.
of where I wanted to take the conversation tonight is to talk about the things. Let me pull back my notes. So there's certain questions I think that come up. I was scavenging, I was searching through Facebook. I can't believe I couldn't come up, and I used the word
We're just
maybe.
gonna make up words now.
Well, I'm a writer, I'm allowed to, so there. But yeah, I was going through Facebook trying to figure out kind of what to talk about tonight, and um, I saw something that grabbed my attention when it comes to relationships and the things that what's right, what's wrong, what's there's social constructs and all that great fun jazz. And I saw somebody post on Facebook saying, "Hey, my boyfriend proposed, but he used the ring he had bought when he was with another girl. They
Oof.
didn't work out. What should I do?" And I'm just like, I don't know because I know my experience with something like that. And Amber, you were part of it because my
Hey, you wanted that ring before he
I
almost
didn't
bought
re-
it from me.
I
I say
didn't
almost
realize
because,
it was I wanted something like that because I thought it was attractive. I just didn't know that but so my second marriage, the ring that gentleman bought was from her first marriage. She divorced, she had the ring, the set, and then my ex bought it from her and then gave it to me. But here's the thing, here's the crack pipe thing about that whole situation. He buys the ring from her. It's a failed marriage. And I think we're both like, okay, maybe this will work. And then he proposes to me at our joint birthday party with you, me, and Kelly that night. I'm like, who? No, just, oh. And I couldn't say no that night because I felt bad. And then it,
Well, when you're in front of a crowd of strangers.
that's why I'm like, okay, so that'll be another question is
Oh,
you propose in front of a crowd. So let me
yeah.
now we've got 2 questions here. Do you accept and this will be interesting from the folks in the chat. Should you accept? Is it okay to accept? Does it matter if the engagement ring that's offered was actually for somebody else? What do you think,
So
Amber?
so here's the thing. I mean, when it comes to, like, if somebody else has worn it, like, I am totally okay with that. Um,
If somebody
just
else has worn
because
it?
yeah, I am. I mean, if you were like, you bought it used or something like that, I'm totally fine with that
Oh,
as long as
used.
yeah, yeah, because I
Okay.
mean, a used wedding ring probably came from a failed marriage. I'm not one to, really,
Read
put a
into
whole lot of yeah, yeah, I mean, because every marriage is different. I also know that, well, one, diamonds aren't nearly as rare as, we've been led to believe. I've done a lot of research on diamonds. I'm actually not a big diamond fan, which is why I don't have a diamond ring from my current husband, and I wanted it that way. Um, but but yeah, I mean, it's like if you see a ring that you're like, I really love this ring. I don't really care what its background is. All I know is this is what it means for me and you. great, go for it, right? Now, the original question that you posed, though, this is really interesting to me because um, the so somebody gets proposed to with a ring that a guy had actually purchased for a different girl, and what I guess just hung on to it, waiting for another one to roll around. That's not cool
Right.
because the ring was not purchased with you in mind, and I would have a huge problem with that.
So it's one thing to buy it secondhand, like your funds are limited to go to a pawn shop or secondhand jeweler, something like
Sure,
that, where
yeah.
you are looking for that specific person. So that's one thing. But to take the rejected ring or a ring that was worn by the ex previous to you is probably not as
Mhm.
cool.
I personally wouldn't be cool with that because I know that it was not purchased with me in mind. Like, if I were that guy, I would have sold that ring and then bought, um yeah, but and bought something different for the current girl.
Yeah.
And yeah, so Hawkeyes, you make a good point. And unless it's a family heirloom, I get that. Um, I guess, I mean, it would probably depend upon the situation, but I tend to agree. I mean, if that was like a ring that had been passed down from like a grandmother or something, and another girl had worn it, maybe he gives it back to his mom or his grandma for safekeeping, and
Mhm.
then, hey, I would like to try again in the future, as long as she's okay with wearing that ring. Because if
Right.
she's not okay with it, then it doesn't matter what the ring is or where it came from. I mean, it's, the girl has to love it. She's going to be the one wearing it for the rest of her life. She
Mhm.
has to be the one that's okay with knowing that it may have been on another girl's finger at one point. And if she's not okay with it, then it's just not okay.
That's a good point. So, hi, Katie.
Hi.
Katie!
she's she's clearly not watching the screen.
Look at, oh,
The
she's,
hair's
oh,
gorgeous.
I'm wearing a wig. If you guys don't,
it's gorgeous. I love it.
long hair, but I went on a walk earlier. It's fucking cold.
You
Why
don't
the
say.
fuck were you walking in this weather? Do you
I
realize
just,
it's like below
no,
zero out
yeah,
there?
I do. I do.
Her
I,
wig's frozen to her head. That's why she did it. The wig won't come off now.
I mean, the wigs do. I mean, it's been a while since I've bought one and worn one, but it does keep you warm. And it is freaking cold. But if you ever wonder what I would like with or look like with long hair, this is it.
You just have beautiful features.
Beautiful.
You're one of those women that your features are such it does not matter your hairstyle because your hair doesn't make your face. Like my hair, it completes my look, so I don't look the same if my hair's like I can't do messy bun stuff or anything. I have to have my hair all done up all the time.
No, you
But
do.
you've just got those features no matter what style your hair is in, no matter how it's done, you just always look awesome. You always look
Oh my
beautiful.
God, you're so sweet. But you
Not
both are
being
the
sweet.
same. You both can. I've seen you with different hair
You've
getting
seen
off
me troll
topic.
you've seen me look like a troll in a lake, which I looked like the troll I looked like the lake troll doll that day. I woke up the
We
next
were all
morning, I was
lake
like,
trolls that day. It is
Oh
"No,
my
okay.
ladies,
God.
some of you guys look wonderful." And I woke up the next morning, I'm like, "Why are these women hanging out with me? Dear Lord, put my
Oh my
eyebrows
God.
back
Are
on."
you kidding me? If you don't look like a troll in a hot mess when you're at the lake, you ain't doing the lake right.
That's
Correct.
right. I agree.
Correct. Accurate. So what we were talking about was little relationship faux pas, and we kind of started off with Valentine's, and it's really not a big deal to us, but we're in those kind of relationships, and so I was looking for questions for tonight to talk about relationship faux pas, and one of the things I had found was, is it cool to accept a ring that's been presented to you, an engagement ring, when it was rejected by the girl who it was actually bought for?
Well, and that's what I walked into. That's what
Yeah,
Amber was talking
yeah.
about. Yeah.
Yeah.
Um,
Yeah.
yeah, I just caught the end of that. I just think that if you communicate it, you can't just pass it off like, you
It's like
can't do that.
you can't pass off a ring like a kid, like it's yours. I mean, it's not. I didn't get it from you, but it's your kid now. Like, you just can't pass off things
It's
like
not
that.
a ring pop that you gave
That's
to one of your like elementary girlfriends.
depending on
What
the
I'm
flavor, I
saying.
might appreciate that much more. I don't know.
I think that, yeah, it's up to the girl. I
Yeah.
mean, I wouldn't be opposed. It's all about how you present it to her and the communication and what happened and all of that. Like, I wouldn't be opposed to it, but it depends on how it's presented to me and,
Mm-hmm.
all of the background.
Oh, yes.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, exactly. And then God, Amber, as I brought that question up, something else came up. Oh, yeah. So getting engaged, should that, like, I have been proposed to in a bar with a bunch of people at a time where I was like, if I say no, I am the biggest asshole tonight. Like, I will be lynched out of here. And Amber was there that night because it was her birthday and my birthday and another girlfriend's birthday back in our early, late 20s, early 30s. My early 30s, maybe Amber's early-ish 30s. And so we're in front of all these people, and he drops down to a knee and he asks me to marry him. I'm like, I'm gonna, yes. Yes. I'm like, I'm not gonna say no. And it worked out fine for a few years. But
I'm sorry. Like, like, I don't want to say yes, but I did. And it worked out okay for a few years. But,
I mean, I gave it what I could. I guess that's all I can.
just say no, ladies. That's
Just
what I'm going to say.
say-
I mean, you don't have to say
That's-
no, but you can like,
I mean, I should have been like, not right now. Just ask me. Wine, and
yeah,
then
just like, hey, get up off your knee if he's on a knee, and can I talk to you for a second? And then like,
because
not
that's not any less awkward than like, no, like, I guess you look like less of an asshole. Now you look like a curious, like, we're curious about your assholery at that point. It's like, why don't you just say yes? But like I said, it worked out for a little bit. But as as Jim and I kind of approach, we were looking to move in together. We're starting to look at this kind of thing. And I've told him, I was like, and I've told this to other people after my own experience, do not just assume she wants a big proposal in front of people. Do not assume that. Like, ask, find out, get the okay to put her on a spotlight. That's a lot of pressure on somebody to down on bended knee, reaching up to you like they're begging for mercy with a ring in hand and asking you to spend the rest of their life together. Like, unless you guys have already had the conversation, like, I think that should be a pre-conversation.
I think it really
Definitely.
comes down to like, I don't know, man
Yes,
or
we do.
woman, you have to, you really have to be in the know and the spot. Like, if you both don't know that's where you want things to go, like marriage wise, and
Well,
the other person.
yeah, I see what you're saying there, but even then, I don't want Jim proposing to me in front of it unless it's our intimate circle, like you girls and his guy pal, like our intimate close circle. That would be one thing. But there's just, I don't, because maybe it's more along the lines of, I don't want a bunch of strangers coming and be like, oh, congratulations and best wishes. Like, I don't want that kind of crap. That's emotional charity, and I'm not a big fan of it. But I would prefer it to be a private conversation where we both I don't want to be really proposed to. I just want to make the decision together. Like, give me the ring once we like come to terms or something. But I don't know. The proposal thing's not attractive to me at all.
Well, I think once you get to a certain age and you've been married, divorced, and you both have to have those conversations. I mean, it's like I had those. I mean, I about just proposed to Aaron because I was so sick of like
Just sick of waiting. I
I'm
know.
just like, yeah. So I
Well, and
mean,
I know a woman who did that. She proposed, and they're married. They've been married, like, I think, I don't know, like 8, 10 years or something like that. But that's their personality types. That works for them. I mean, he did wear the engagement ring, or in a ring, as though it was an engagement ring. It was his wedding ring that he ended up wearing as the engagement ring, but she didn't wear the engagement ring.
Well, I didn't end up proposing to him. I basically said, this is what I'm looking for. Like, we both had talked about it, but he was just waiting, and he didn't give me any inclination. I mean, he is still that way in our he's more of the passive one. I'm more of the aggressive one. I know, shocker.
I would have used the term assertive because you do care about people as you're getting your way, but you will find a way to make things
my
happen.
way, Tara. No,
You make things happen. That's what it is. You just make it happen.
I care about others immensely.
That's why I say assertive. You're assertive, but you get the job done. You find a way to get what you want to get to. You get to your goal, but you're not running people over just for the hell of it. Like you're very mindful of who you are messing with when you're getting to the goal.
Oh, definitely. And I just kind of let him know, yeah, I think we're both in this spot, but we need to get there sooner rather than later. And then he did end up proposing, and it was sweet. I wasn't looking for like a huge proposal, but at that time I did feel like I was kind of forcing the issue. And so I do regret that. I do regret that.
That's a really interesting angle though, is did he feel pressure to do it versus like, all right, I do want to do this. She happens to have the timing correct. Like that would be, I would be concerned with that too. I would be.
I mean, we have had we had conversations, and he says, no, I don't feel, we've been married. We just celebrated our 12th year anniversary. So, I mean, I hope he doesn't, at this point, just fucking run if you feel
pressure. At this point, just tell Katie no if you feel pressure.
And I say, like, hey, you know where the door is. So
I can help you find it.
Walk through it.
There you go. All right, so here's another question, and it's going to go into the extreme opposite. This is like the morbid stuff. I love Golden Girls. I watch them every Sunday because they're on TV Land for like 8 hours in the morning, and I have to watch my Golden Girls. And so there was one of the episodes where Rose is dating Miles, and she meets Miles' daughter, Caroline. And Caroline basically tells Rose, stay away from my dad. He only became a widow less than a year ago. It's too soon. Get away from him. And so there was a coming to the plot climax. We're going to solve our problem in 30 minutes conversation where, Blanche is like, a year's plenty respectable. Like, and then she goes into her whole Blanche slutty diatribe of stuff. And she comes back to the whole, it's okay. Like, and it's his choice. So, and not that any one of us would think about it, but is there a reasonable time frame for getting back into the relationship or getting into a relationship once your partner's passed?
Once your partner's passed, that's a tough one. Yeah.
I was talking
that's going to be an individual kind of a decision, really. I mean,
well, but society, so there's that I agree with that. But yet there's the social norms that none of us signed up for, but we all seem to be bound by is, I know there's people who don't want to be alone, so they'll move a little more quickly than others. And what is in this, they have to deal with those social judgments.
You know what I say?
Yeah, we know what you say.
Yeah, yes. Fuck it.
Fuck what everyone else thinks. Like, you do you, and it is on everyone's different time. And people are going to judge. That's our nature. Like, I get it. The older I get, the less I care about whatever I don't care. It's just, you're going to be judged by someone. Like,
yes.
But
yeah,
agreed.
Fuck you.
Like, you're judged if it's too soon, and you're judged if you're waiting too long, and people think, oh, you just need to move on with your life. Yeah, it's.
Yep.
Yeah. I mean, you just got to do what's going to make you happy.
People will find a way to judge you, and it's
just
that they'll just find a way.
Yeah, they will. I know Jim and I get judged. We've been together for 8.5 years, and we are just now moving towards the living together arrangement. People are like, oh my God, just now? Like, why aren't you guys even living together? Not why aren't we married? Why aren't you even living together? Well, why do you care? Like, I'm always
Right?
curious. I'm like, how does my lifestyle or Jim's lifestyle impact you to the point where you have to have this information in order to live? I'm just asking for a friend. I am that friend, but
I'm asking for a friend. I am that friend.
But give me a solid reason why it matters. Like, what if we never wanted to live together, but we were very happy just in our, and I do have two cousins who do not live with their wives. They live in one had he's been with his wife forever. They raised their kids together. Once the kids were out of school, they're like, need our own need our own space. So they have their own space and they go back and forth, but they were very young when they got together and had kids. This is kind of like their time. They're realizing who they are. And then the other one, it's his second wife. And it's just the way that the lifestyles work out right now, which is similar to Jim and I. The lifestyles just haven't lined up enough for for living together to be a feasible option. And now things are changed and it looks like it could be feasible. But I'm always curious, like, uh, why does this matter to you? Why does it matter
You
at all?
know, I've decided that if something ever happened to Eric and I found myself single or alone, I probably would, I definitely would never get married again. But
You could marry
I,
me. You could come live with me.
okay.
I knew that
I'm
was
okay with
coming.
that.
I'm
I'm
sorry.
okay with that. Um,
We've decided we're going to Golden
it's,
Girls lives out. We've already made those plans. So see,
oh, fuck
Yes,
yes. Fuck
yes,
yes.
yes, yes, yes.
But if I found myself in a relationship with another man, um, I'm not living with somebody. I'm not living with somebody again. I mean, because here's the thing: when you're young and you move in with each other, and it's all wonderful, and you're like you're learning life together. You're figuring life out together. As you get older, it gets harder to like blend a life with somebody else because as you get older, like become more independent just naturally, I think. Or maybe that's just me. I don't know.
Definitely. No, I agree.
And
Totally agree.
yeah,
so it's like I wouldn't be opposed to a relationship, but I'm never going to live with somebody. And so I always had this idea of like, okay, like one of these days, if I found myself in a situation where I was dating somebody else, you know what? They can live next door. They can live next door. I want I'm perfectly happy with my own space and my
yeah,
own bed. Like I never had a problem being single.
right.
So, and I feel like as I get older, I am not going to become more flexible in my old age.
For
I am just
you
gonna
may
get
want to.
more and more rigid and set in my own ways and then trying to figure that out with another human being. No,
There's
thank
your
you. No,
That's your
thank you.
Tinder tagline. Not flexible, very rigid. Inquire within.
Or don't.
Or
Just
don't.
don't.
Oh my goodness. Is Katie still there for you? Because she looks like she's spinning.
I see her name and it's
Okay.
spinning.
Okay.
So
So that's a safe.
technical difficulties.
As
No Irish goodbye
usual.
yet.
No, not yet. It's too soon. Okay. So then, with some of the other things, I don't know if this will be. It might be applicable. Has there ever been a situation where you thought your partner had a stronger bond with a pet in the house than you?
Me, no. Well, oh.
Oh.
Okay, nobody that I've like had a serious relationship with, no. But there was this one guy. Let me tell you what. He was a very, very interesting guy. He was very well read. I really enjoyed his company. Um, just something about the guy that was just a little too soft for me. Oh, no pun intended. But anyway,
I was gonna say.
um, no, it's just it was somebody that I could definitely be good friends with, but a relationship just really, I couldn't get there. This dude, he had these two cats, And those cats were his children.
Was that Jesse?
And no,
Oh,
this was somebody you never met.
okay.
Really, really amazing person, but and I love the fact that he was so close with his pets. I thought that was very, very sweet. I mean, he treated them very well every Sunday. He like cooked all of this food because he wanted to make sure everything they ate was natural. And I mean, like, best pet dad ever. But I was like, he's never going to like me more than he likes those cats. So, and that wasn't the reason why it didn't work out, but yeah, that was an interesting one. That was an interesting one. Sweet guy though. Really sweet guy.
Welcome back, Katie.
I know. I thought I had a little bit more time before I had to get my charger for my laptop. So it went kaput, and I had to go grab the charger.
Gotcha. So the question on the table was, have you ever been in a situation where your partner had a stronger bond with their pet than you? Amber had to backpedal on that one too.
No, I mean, I love pets like no other. Like, yeah.
No.
But so does Aaron. Like, I literally told him, if we get divorced, I get Max in the divorce. Because so we love him equally.
You let him what?
We love him equally. Like
Equally?
Equally. Like,
Equally.
Oh, love him equally. I was missing the Q part of that. I'm like, what is happening in these words for me today?
I know. I heard bully. I heard like
bully.
Yeah, I was like, wait,
I heard
what?
bully and woolly. I'm like, is this sexual? What is happening? What is he talking about? Is this a bedroom reference? Like, what are you guys doing?
Katie dresses up as Max and goes to bed.
Amber, we're gonna find Amber.
They're furries. They're secret furries.
Oh my god! And I love. Oh my god, I love that so much. But I'll be working on my computer, and Aaron will come over when he gets home, or he was home today, and he has Max. He's holding him like a baby, and he's kissing him like he's me. I know, and I'm just look at him like he loves me more.
It's the intrusive thought. He loves me more. He loves me more. He does.
But
I could get the dog out of his grass.
Pets are, they are part of the family, and so that could pose an issue.
In your case, Katie, don't divorce. That'll be too messy of a divorce. Okay, so in a relationship where there are children involved, so Amber, this probably it could apply potentially. I think the boys were pretty much grown except for the youngest one. But who should come first between the partner and the children? Now, there's an old ethical question
that is a loaded question, Tara.
Because I mean, I feel like when they're younger, kids always come first. Rylan always came first, and it didn't matter. It didn't matter who I was dating. It didn't matter. Like, Rylan always came first, and even after Eric and I got together, Rylan would come first. But Rylan was only 14 when him and I first got together. But Eric had grown children at that point, and so he would get a little jealous and be like, me wanting to, like, set something aside with my son and focus on him. And I'd be like, yeah, but I'm like a part-time mom right now because me and his dad always had 50-50 custody.
Yeah.
So when he's with me, he is my like 100% focus. And yeah, I mean, as Rylan got older, then of course that absolutely changes. I mean, he's away in college right now, and so Eric comes first. But if my son called me And heck, if he just calls me, it doesn't matter what I'm doing, I'm picking up the phone, you know?
Mhm.
So, I mean, I guess from that standpoint, he's still gonna come first. The picture is just different now than it was when he was little, you know?
Yeah, you definitely only have 1
So
kid because I'll get a call from my kids, and because I've got 3 of them, I'm like, I can ignore that. If it's important, they'll call me back. Like, I think that's the multiple child syndrome. It's like, if there's
right,
one,
he's
I
my
get.
only.
Yeah, so I get that, but at my rate, I'm like, "Eh," and like I tease my boys, "I carry one of you as a spare, so don't be stupid about it," and then that's like Macy's my only girl, and, so I think there's different dynamics there. I know, Katie, you've got multiples.
Yeah, I mean, we have 6 total. Like, I have 3 older children with my and they're all grown. And then so are Aaron's twin girls, and then we have Ashton, who's, so, but uh blended families are not blended families. It's a different discussion, I feel like. But I personally feel like you I always was very protective of my children and wanted them to feel like they came first. But ultimately, now looking back, I mean, they could both husband. I think if you're married, like if
Mhm.
you're married and living together, that partner, you need to make each other first and set expectations
Yeah.
for the house and the children. I mean, you can ultimately make everyone like the children, Ashton 11, I mean, he know like you can not lie to them, but you
Well,
can make them
there's a
feel like
balance.
this first, but
There's a balance there. There is a balance so that because I think you have to be careful putting kids first, especially if there's multiples involved, because there is an opportunity they could take advantage of that.
oh, they always take advantage of everything,
Mhm.
Tara. I mean, no matter what it is, I mean, they're manipulative
Well, that's
jerks.
what I'm saying. So, yes. And that's what I'm saying is that I think there's a balance, and if there's a choice between, hey, do we go to this date night thing or do we go to our, the child of the house? I don't care which person they belong to, but the child of the house, they've got a concert. It's
Give me a scenario exactly. Like, is this the scenario?
Yeah, I think that's where people go wrong at in trying to determine, oh, it's always my child first. I'm like, no, it's not. There's plenty of times you put your partner over your child, and there's times that you should. So, like, yeah, if you're talking about a work party versus child has a concert, doesn't matter who the child belongs to in the relationship. Because in my mind, if you're coming together to live in a house, you've got either one or both. If you have children that you're bringing into the house, the expectations should be like they should be spelled out. Like for me, and Jim and I don't live together, but he goes to all of Macy's concerts and all of her games, and we're the only two parents that do that in her life. And so
Well,
he takes that responsibility seriously. But when there's times like if he's got a drill night type of thing, which is his gun range stuff, and Macy's got a thing, then I'm not like on those nights. I'm like, well, I'll be there for her. Go do your thing, especially since this is part of a thing he pays for, he's invested in it, that kind of stuff, because he does show that he puts her first in other occasions.
yeah,
But it's
they didn't.
not his job to put her first necessarily because we're not living together. Um, but there's times I put him first that doesn't make her very happy, but she gets it.
Well, when you're living together or not, I mean, what I will say, Aaron and I always have tried to go to all kinds of kids' activities. It's kind of rare if there's something that conflicts with it
Right.
that we absolutely can't get out of because we know you do need to be a part of those activities because
Yeah.
they're going to be gone. They're not going to happen again, it's
Yeah.
going to be
Mhm.
past. So we but I mean, there have been times where I've missed one of Ashton's games because I had to go, I don't know, meet my siblings for something or whatever. And I didn't want to miss Ashton's game. And then Aaron
Yeah.
was like, yeah, you got to go do. So it's just, I can't, that's not putting a child first.
I feel like though, if the child understands, like missing one of his games because there was something that important that came up, but
Mhm.
that child knows that you're usually at his games.
Yeah.
You're
Right.
usually there. You can't make one because something has happened and you communicate that, yet they still feel loved and cared for, and they feel that you know that that's important for them, then sometimes, I mean, sometimes things are just going to happen, right? You
Yeah.
know, and I think it just has a lot to do with how does the how is the child taking that? You know, if the child's like, no, I totally understand, like you're always there for me, I can always count on you, something came up, that's okay. But
Yeah.
if it's one of those situations where it's like, maybe they don't have something very often, like if they weren't in sports or whatever, and it's like, oh, I've got this school program and it's the only, thing this whole entire year or whatever that I really want somebody to be at. And you're like, oh, yeah, well, no, I'm not going to make that. Well, then they're going to feel totally dejected. So, I mean, I think just it's always situational with
Yeah.
stuff like that.
Yep.
And if your kid knows that they're loved and they feel loved and they know that you really want to be there, but something really actually came up,
Yeah.
they might have hurt feelings for a moment, but if in the end they know that you'd do anything for them, then it's not going to, in 5 years, it's not gonna matter, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Agreed.
Well, I will say this too, because this came across, oh God, it's been like we weren't even married. I mean, our kids were all younger, so but there were situations where his girls just were a little try to manipulate him, and he felt like my feelings were hurt because it wasn't even a situation exactly like he came to something with me and missed something of theirs. Like it had nothing to do with that. It just like putting me first, or I mean, we were getting married and it was a whole thing
Yeah.
because of and they will manipulate. I mean, kids they will try to do whatever they can at times to make
Right,
you
yeah.
feel bad, guilty, manipulate, yeah, I've been through it, came out on the other side. I'm still dealing with, it's just how it is. It's just recognizing it
Yeah.
and having those conversations and setting expectations, because that child is eventually going to leave. They're
Yes.
going to grow up and you're going to be with your partner, and you two need to be first because they're going to be off doing that. I mean, you can make them feel very important and love them and a priority. It doesn't necessarily have to be like putting you first. That's not what it has to be about, in my opinion.
Mhm.
But they are going to leave the nest. They're going to
Correct.
leave the nest.
Yes.
So
Mhm.
that actually will take us into, I'll ask one more question because we're coming down to the last part of the time. But you get to that point, and I actually saw this question on Facebook too, is um, it was back to the older couples, 50-year-olds, their kids were out of the coop, they were empty nesters, and it was the woman saying, hey, I'm not in love with this person. I mean, I love him, but I'm not in love with him, and I just feel like that part is gone, so now what do I do? So, and I find that interesting because I have a very different view of um so like love to me is not an emotion, it's a metric for a relationship. How many times have we seen somebody that just met somebody else and they're like, I just love you? And we throw the word around quite a bit, but it really comes down to is the level of care that we want to provide somebody, that we want to invest into somebody. And it's the amount of patience and tolerance we're willing to have. Because of all the things that I've heard for long lasting marriages, it was laughter and being patient and tolerant. It wasn't, I never heard a single older person, and I say older, these are people who are in their 80s and 90s, were married for good long times, and none of one of them said anything about love. But they expressed it differently. That they had to be able to laugh with their partner. That was number one. But when they come down to the nuts and bolts of the relationship, it was just being able to be patient and tolerant, not feel like they're in love all the time.
Well, no one's going to be in love all the time. I mean,
Well, I didn't think so
Yeah.
either, because I fell for that trap with my first marriage. I'm like, dude, I barely like you, let alone love you. Like, what happened? Like,
Aaron and I have already said that if we get divorced, like, hey, someone's going to live downstairs, someone's going to live upstairs. I mean,
which is actually really common right now because it's just so expensive otherwise. But that's the whole, I think my brother actually said it best. I don't know where he came up with it, but he said a marriage is a friendship on fire. Sometimes the flame is a little lower and it's just an operable fire. Sometimes it is just a raging inferno. Like, it just changes because people change. As individuals, we change, and you have to learn that that's where patience and tolerance is so important. You guys know I'm struggling with some stuff in my own relationship right now. It's not bad, but it takes patience and tolerance to get through this little area of life, to get to the next phase. So I found that interesting when she's like, oh, I don't love my husband, or I love him, but I'm not in love. And it's like, what does that even mean to any, like, so
some
what is the
people
difference?
love their partner, but maybe they were never really in love with them. Like, I've heard, I love my partner and I respect it, and they're together for years and years and years, but they were never truly in love with one another.
So what does that concept even mean? What does being in love mean? Because I can't use it as a term towards Jim. It's not that I don't love him. I do, and I care very deeply, and I do want to spend my life with him, no matter how we do it. I don't need the how we do it is far less important than the desire to do it. Like,
I don't like the term in love. I really don't use it. I mean, I know that people throw it out there, but it really just has to do with loving a person. I mean, if you love someone compared to being in love, what's the difference? To me, there should be no difference, I guess.
There shouldn't be. I mean, being in love with somebody, it's a chemical in your brain. It's those little, fluttery butterflies in your stomach, which, hey, that it's great in a new relationship, whatever. But if you've been with somebody for a long ass time, you're not gonna have that little fluttery in love feeling anymore. I mean, it's just not going to happen.
It goes away all the time. It goes away.
I was just saying,
yeah.
I don't know what's happening here, but it's not happening with me. Somebody's at my door and I don't know what the hell they want, but I'm not paying attention to them. But it's not, I mean, they can't, isn't it unreasonable to expect, God, she's going to give me heartburn, isn't it unreasonable to put the pressure upon somebody where they have to create that feeling for you consistently for you to feel like you're in love? If you look at it, the anxious if you look into what emotions are and you look at the butterfly thing, that is a form of anxiety. It might be a pleasurable form of anxiety, but it is attached to, it's the positive aspect of the anxiety feeling. I don't think people realize that is just as damning to the body as the negative anxiety is. And so, and it shouldn't be up to somebody else to make you feel that euphoria.
No, it's not up to anyone.
That should come from within.
It should not. No, I mean, that to me, like, is absurd, I guess, if you're expecting someone to make you feel
Right.
I mean, there are yes, I want my partner to feel loved. That's how I cook for him. We have sex, we have intimate time, we dance, we laugh, we do all these things together, and that makes him feel loved. And certain things make me feel loved. Like he knows if he communicates with me more and does this, and that, I feel more loved. And so
I'm going to start communicating with you every single day so you feel loved.
Thank you. I heart you. Thank you. But it's all about, but you can't expect and lean on someone to, if you have to get that from someone else in order to feel happy and loved, there's an issue.
Correct. I've dated
I don't
that.
think you understand. I don't think you understand what a long-term relationship is supposed to be like if that is your expectation.
Yep,
So if you've got
yeah.
if you've got somebody who gets to that point of like, oh, I love them, but I'm not in love with them, so I really don't want to do this anymore. Well, then they probably don't actually love them. They probably, maybe have some respect for them as a human.
Right.
Maybe they're like, oh, they were a good mother, they were a good father, but maybe you were only together to raise the children. I mean, and if that's how you feel, then maybe it is time to end the relationship. But if you're leaving just because you're not getting the butterflies anymore, that's absolutely unrealistic.
Well, that's immature in my.
It is, yeah.
You're totally immature because and you nailed it, Amber, when you were like, yeah, it's when you describe being in love and love, like that is what it is. And it's like when you're 16, 17 and you're crushed and you're so excited to see them every day and then kissing, it's so new. It's so, that's gonna go away. And
yeah, I don't want new and exciting. I want my comfy pair of pants and my fuzzy socks, man. That's what
Eric,
I want.
I am
he knows
Eric
he
that he is a pair of comfy pants and fuzzy socks in your world. I'm going to tell him that. That's what I'm
and he would be like, oh my God, she loves me so much, because he knows how much I love my comfy pants and my fuzzy socks. But I mean, that's what a relationship should be. It should be something that just makes you feel cozy, not something that makes you feel, oh, I got to have excitement every day. Like that's not.
But doesn't that desire to get home and get in those comfy pants and those fuzzy socks give you the anticipation? Doesn't that give you kind of the same euphoric feel?
Absolutely.
But so there's that aspect.
But it's not quite the same. It's not quite the same as like, that first kiss, or, oh, is he going to text me today?
That's hormones from hell is what that is.
Right. Well, that's what I'm saying. Like that in love feeling is nothing but oxytocin in your brain. And, yeah, if you're looking for a real long-term relationship, that's not what that's about.
Yeah.
Yeah. Aaron knows that if he instigates a conversation with me instead of me instigating,
like a back rub.
Him, no, not a back. Even just
but it's like a verbal back rub for you.
Yeah, connection. Like that's connection. Like I need to feel close to my partner, and in order to, like, this is how I describe it to him. I need to feel close to you, and for me to be able to be close to you, your penis in my vagina, like I need to feel close. Sorry, that's probably too much. But anyway.
No big deal. I think in pictures, so it's fine.
We have those discussions, like, and he knows that, and it's all a given. But what you said, Tara, about being cozy and that does give you a sense of euphoria and comfy, but it isn't the same. Like,
we're probably too old for that big excitement stuff. Our hearts probably wouldn't hold out at our ages. We're getting to that point where we need to be.
Definitely. I mean, I will say you can definitely get that back on, but it's not an everyday thing. It's like special.
I don't want it
No,
to be
it's
an everyday thing.
yeah, it's
I
just
like
like
it being
every
hit and
now and
miss.
then.
Yeah.
Yeah. Mhm.
Yeah, I like for it to come and go. I like for the bad stuff to come and go. That's how you know it's a healthy relationship. You have the downs to justify and validate and value the ups. And I love anticipation. So like I know when Jim's up to something, he's got his signals. He doesn't know what they are. I won't tell him because he will stop giving them up. He doesn't know he does it, but I know when he's up to something. So I get excited, like, okay, I know what's gonna happen. And then there's times I'm like, I would be fine if he didn't text me today. Like I'm just not in a people fashion type of mood at all. And then he actually, I think he has a disturbance in the gym force when I feel that way. Cause he's like, hey, love you. And how's it going? Like all day long text. I'm like, God damn it. I just wanted to be miserable and alone today, but whatever. I guess I'll be a girlfriend. That's fine too.
Well, and sometimes, because this has come into my life recently, I mean, you can't build expectations in your mind. Like, just don't
Right.
do that. That's gonna ruin you. Like,
Mm-hmm.
Oh,
I
it does. It builds resentment if you have like these crazy expectations, or even, I mean, I say crazy expectations, but
just
even just expectations. Like it's like you have to not have any expectations, really.
Yeah.
You just have to know that you're in this life together to do life together. And I mean, I guess there's some expectations, I mean, like, you expect each other to give each other attention and pay attention to each other and help each other around the house and, do those kinds of things.
I expect a
But
glass of
if
wine and
you
then I'm happy.
well, but it's that's such a simple expectation. That's so easy to do. We know how to make Tara happy. You give her a glass of wine and oh my God, she's loved, but that's great. That's great to have simple
Mm-hmm.
expectations.
Yes.
If you have good communication and you can recognize when the other person is maybe not feeling the love and
that's
and
very
and know
important.
and know how to reach them in their special way, then that in itself should make a relationship last forever.
I mean, it does. Yes, that's very good. Yes, but it does come down to recognizing
Right,
and
right. Yes,
accepting
exactly.
it,
Because
and
some people don't, and that's
yeah,
and those
Yeah.
were, that was why my first marriage failed. There was zero recognition in what my wants and needs were. So,
Yeah.
yeah, but yeah, I mean, like, with my husband, he recognizes my wants and needs. I recognize his wants and needs. And anytime we're not feeling it from the other person, we bring it up, and then you talk through it and then you're feeling the love again.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
yeah, you have to talk about it. And I will say that, yeah, I do feel resentment towards Aaron sometimes, and we've had this conversation because he doesn't recognize certain things, and I want to bring it up. Like, I can't sweep things under the rug. Like, if I'm feeling we need to talk about it, because if we don't, it's just going to fester. It's going to be a cycle over
Yep.
and over
Oh
again.
yeah.
We've got to talk about it. And I'll talk it to death if I need to. Like, I'll beat a dead horse if I need to. And he knows this, so he's bless him.
He's outside the door being like, yes, she will. She does.
I'll bring him in right now. He'll probably tell
He'd be like, that's exactly what happens in this house. Yeah. Oh, well, any other thoughts before we close out tonight? Katie's actually going to make it through the end of a show.
Oh my God.
I know. No Irish goodbyes here. Any other thoughts from you gals?
No, I have a
No?
lot, but I'll just table it for another.
There's always relationship thoughts. We can,
Yeah.
we can definitely
We
jump
can
on
do
this
more.
subject again.
I think the next one should be something similar, because you could go on and on probably.
Yeah, I have more questions I didn't get to tonight, so
So.
we can continue on with relationship
Ooh.
stuff and
Part 2.
right. So with that in mind, I won't hold everybody hostage. It's been a couple weeks since we've been on, so we're trying to get back into the groove, and I don't want to hold people here for 2 hours on a return after a 2-week hiatus. But regarding the relationship thing, as I having been in my own crappy relationships and being in a fairly decent one now, I say fairly decent, that probably sounds bad, in a healthy one now.
It does sound bad, Tara.
It registered after, like it came back in to regurgitate itself. I'm like, I choked on my own words. I'm like, oh, that sounds terrible.
I'm in
My
an
inbox is going to
kind
be
of
filled here soon.
relationship right now. I don't know what it's.
It seems
Do
like
we
it's working.
do we ever? It's like it's okay today. It's
Well,
okay
yeah,
today.
yeah. Well, so like,
I'm in an okay kind of relationship right now too, and I've been married for 12 years. So.
I'm the world's
There's
most
hope.
okayest wife.
Yeah, she's like, it's okay. He's alive, isn't he?
Oh, that was awesome, Amber. I'm gonna have to go tell her.
I'm the world's most okayest wife. You heard that here first. We need to make that a bumper sticker.
Right.
Dude, I'm on it.
I needs to. That is awesome. That, oh my God, I'm the world's most okayest wife.
You could text that to Eric too. He'd be like, yeah.
That's pretty much it too. Yeah, I know. He already knows. He's, oh my gosh. Well, despite all the relationship crap that's out there, there's not a perfect relationship, right? There's no perfect humans.
No.
So there's no way to come up with a perfect relationship if we're not perfect. And I've come to the conclusion that relationships are like ladders. Each person brings their side of the ladder, right? And in order to get the rungs between the two to connect the two sides, the holes have to match up pretty decently to create stable rungs. And the more
That's what she said.
Sorry. The world's most okayest wife is the best one-liners. But so the more stable the rungs are, the more you guys can climb up the ladder together and explore new parts of yourself and new parts of just different parts of the world, so to speak. It's where the rungs don't match up and you force the rungs anyway. The rungs are all slanted. They don't hold weight well. You can't climb it. That's when a relationship really becomes work. If it's just the matchup is not good. And so I found that to be a pretty helpful analogy for me as I look through, is it really work? Is it not work? And I think one comedian said it, and I can't remember which one it was, but he's like, relationships aren't hard. It's like two people moving a couch. If you're moving the couch in the same direction, it might be heavy weight, but you can get the couch where you want it to go. But if you're both moving in opposite directions, it is a lot of work. So I thought that's kind of a neat way to put it.
It is, but I will say that Aaron and I, if we move furniture together, it's not good. We're gonna
Pivot.
Pivot. Yeah, like it's
So
not.
when you need to move furniture, just call me. I'm pretty good at that.
That's awesome.
So here's what I will. It's all about recognizing your differences, who's strong at this, who's weak at this, and recognizing
using your strengths. Yep.
You come together as a couple to make it work. So
agreed. Very much so. Well, with that, I say we call it a night. I have my lavender tea, so I'm getting, oh my God, why is she doing that to me?
I have wanted a glass of red wine all day today, but this dang weather, you think I'm getting out in this shit just to go get wine? I'm not doing it. I'm not doing it.
I can't believe you don't have wine. Like I have some.
I have vodka. I don't have wine.
I mean, it is kind of.
I am not sans alcohol. I just don't have the one that I really wanted.
Oh,
yeah, it's okay. It's all right. The roads will melt eventually.
Next this weekend,
Saturday. Yep.
Mm-hmm. We go from -6 to 56 or 65.
Bipolar weather we have here.
Crazy weather.
Yeah.
So Mother Nature needs to get her ducks in a row. They're all over the place. All over the place.
Well, Punxsutawney Phil did say we'd have 6 more weeks.
Then he wanted to pull some fast ones, and we had some really nice days where the windows were open, which, by the way, I figured out why there was a draft in my kitchen. It turns out that window was slightly cracked. letting in negative degree temperature air. So I
Oh,
need
ew.
Punxsutawney. Yeah, it was bad. I'm like, why is my house so cold? But it was horrible. At any rate, Punxsutawney I'm not a fan. They need to pick a swim lane. Him and Mother Nature and Father Time all need to get together and figure their crap out. I'm tired of it. At any rate, you guys have a good night.
You too. Love
You
you,
too.
ladies.
Love you
Love
guys.
you.
Bye.
Bye.